to the 2025 school year and a look at Tiffin University football. Hi everybody, I'm Snyder, voice of the Dragons. To my right, head coach in his second season now with the TU Dragons, Ekkens. Coach, how are we doing today, buddy?
Doing great. Thanks for having me.
Well, we were talking a little bit before we started the program, and you were mentioning how it's been very busy, but very exciting, and just real excited for your kids and the work they've been putting in so far this year.
Yeah, it definitely feels different. Last year it was kind of drinking through a fire hose. We were trying to figure out which way was up a lot, and at this point we feel really good about the group we've got coming back with so much experience, and we've been able to get to a little bit more complex football more than last year. That's
right. Well, the kids have been on campus for a little while now, going through camp. Talk a little bit about the work those kids have been putting in.
They've been putting in the work. We had a large group that decided to stay this summer, and that was awesome that they were able to stay and train with our strength coach, Zane Cox. And honestly, since camp started 3 weeks ago now, which is pretty crazy.
Wow.
That's gone that fast. Yeah. But since camp started, our ability to just meet our standard day in and day out has been very impressive. So the energy's great, excitement's great, and then the standard that everybody is holding and holding each other to is impressive.
Well, you mentioned Zane, so let's just take a trip back a little bit ago. So we got to mention Victory Day. One of my favorite things we do on campus, if not my favorite thing, and Zane's a big part of that, and the entire football program is as well. Just talk a little bit about what it means to your kids to be able to participate in a day like Victory Day.
It's unbelievable. It's a moving day. Obviously, honestly, it's an emotional day. 91 participants this year.
It was amazing.
And Coach Cox, Zane Cox, is the one that organizes the whole thing. Him and his family, they're really influential in that community, and he did an awesome job. And then our players, service is a huge part of what we do, and it's a core principle that we believe in, in our program, and it's an opportunity to go out and serve. But not only that, it really touches our players' hearts, and you can see it on their faces how excited they are to be able to work with those individuals in a unified football event. It's awesome, and it's our favorite event that we do all year.
Absolutely.
The players constantly, all the freshmen came up to me and said, "Do we do this every year? I can't wait to do it next year." So it's an unbelievable evening, and that's the thing about it. It's only a couple short hours, but it makes a difference. We've got some individuals from last year that come to games, and they're buying jerseys of the player that they spent an hour with.
That's awesome. That's fantastic. Yeah. And you mentioned the looks on your players' faces. When I go through the pictures of that, it's hard to tell who's got a bigger smile on their face, the participants or your players. That's wonderful to see.
Yeah, it's pure joy.
Absolutely. Well, speaking of pure joy, kickoff on a Thursday night up at Wayne State. The Dragons will get started here coming up in the week. And then a few road games in October. Very strange schedule this year, but we can't really do anything about that. But kids working hard. First game this year of the season on a road on a Thursday night up at Wayne State, a former conference foe of the Dragons, a school that you got a lot of familiarity with. I'm sure when you think about what you want to see out of your kids on game number one, I'm sure that intensity, focus. Give me some more adjectives.
Yeah, for us, it's our culture. It's grind. It's something we talk about every single day. It's the way that we do everything. So we want to see our guys show up and do that. And if we keep it, it's got to stay about us. We're not focused on anything externally. Our process is completely internally driven, and for us, it's showing up and understanding that the night is about who we are, and we aren't looking around. Whether we're on the road or at home, our process is going to remain the same. So we're leaning into that.
Yep, a noon kickoff, 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 6 o'clock, who cares? That's what the Dragons are doing out there, preparing and getting ready to get out there on that football field.
Yeah.
So absolutely.
Put the ball down and we're ready to play.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about your squad. A lot of kids coming back, some really good skill players, some kids who are getting some preseason recognition, guys who got recognition at the end of the season last year, but we'll talk about them in a minute. Let's talk about some of the kids you brought in, some of your underclassmen, some of your freshmen, some of the kids maybe from the portal. Give us some names of the kids that we might see that maybe we're not real familiar with.
Yeah, Amari White would be the first one that I'd mention, and he's done a great job, transferred in from UTEP. He's playing one of our receiver positions. Daniel Weems is a running back that we brought in. It's been doing a great job. You're going to see Tyrese Banks-Dorn back, so TBD as we call him. He was out with an injury last year. He's back, and that's really brought a spark to our team.
You see that kid everywhere. Everywhere on campus you see Tyrese.
He might be the most famous guy on campus. Keeping it on the offensive side, Jaden McKinstry. He's a local kid that played at BG and then went to Louisiana Monroe, and he transferred back up here to finish his playing days. And then on the defensive side of the ball, we brought in a few linebackers that you'll see in Ethan Evers, in Nico Bowler, and in Cole McElvaney. Those are 3 new faces that you'll see in that room, and you'll see some familiar faces there too.
Right. Well, it seems like what you're talking about is building depth.
Yeah,
a lot of depth in the positions. The positions you're talking about, we got some good guys returning.
We have, yeah, and Amari Ferguson, a defensive end. We brought him in as well, and then on the back half, Kalen Walters. He's been a great addition, and Q Brown. So we've gone back to the portal to do what we say, and that honestly, your foundation is always going to be laid by the guys that you recruit and that spend 4 to 5 years in your program. But with the day and the age that we live in,
exactly,
we're going to utilize the transfer portal, and our team has been great. They bring those guys in, they show them the ropes, and they really accept them, and they become part of the team quickly. They get indoctrinated into our culture, and it's awesome to see that happen.
It's amazing, really, if you think about it, because until you said that, I never thought about how much your current players on campus are a part of that recruiting tool, not only with the young kids, we know that, but I never thought about it with the transfer portal. Kids coming in to check out the program, they better get along with the kids you got here, or they're just not going to come.
Yeah, it's really important that we make sure that everybody knows what the standard is, and that everybody understands why we're bringing people in, and we're transparent with everybody on our team. We don't hide it. It's something we talk openly about, and when you keep everybody informed on where they're at on the team and the position that they're in and the ones that they're competing for, it makes things flow a lot easier, and it makes the guys more accepting.
Absolutely. Let's take a look at your position groups now. We mentioned some of the new guys coming in, but let's start with the defensive side of the ball, because if you keep them out of the end zone, it makes the game a whole lot easier to win. So let's start up front. You got some guys coming back who are highly decorated, but let's talk about that defensive front as a group.
Yeah, the defensive front has been lots of fun to watch.
Smile on his face right there.
This camp. So Chris Walton's back, led the nation in sacks last year, and was the defensive lineman of the year. Obviously, he's a big. He's going to be a big asset for us that he's coming back. But our interior D lineman, that's where I feel like we've got a lot of depth. Gio Albanese, Radical Rothermel, Kevin Hornbeek, Jockel Brown. Those guys have all looked great in camp, and they've been tough to move. And then at the other end position, Chris Artis, Uzo. Uzo's been awesome, and we've brought in a transfer in Amari Ferguson as well there. Clarence Gossett has been doing a good job. He started and played some games there late in the season. And then Dennis Shadea was banged up a little bit last year. So that group is deep, and they work really well with the offensive line. Those guys get after each other every single day. But I've been impressed with what I've seen.
The defensive linemen are names I don't say a whole lot, but a lot of those names you just said I'm very, very familiar with, so it speaks to me a lot of experience on that defensive front. They take care of the line of scrimmage. You got your linebackers behind them, roaming around, making them tackles. Talk about that group.
Yeah, Jalen Coles, it's great to have him back. He really came into his own last year, and second team all conference. What a great season he had. But it's been great to see him take that next step. He's more comfortable. If you look at him a year ago to now, the change is evident. So he's been really leading. He got voted captain. He's leading that unit, and he's done a great job. And then we talked a little bit about the transfer guys that have come in to compete there as well. Booba Bangura is another one that I want to reference. He had a great camp, and he's a guy that played there in the last game against Truman, did a great job before us, and moving forward, he's a face that you should be looking for.
All right, then behind the linebacker, of course, your secondary, your corners, and your safeties, and then we got some playmakers back there. We've had a lot of playmakers back there the last few years. That's going to continue this year, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Any great defense, you've got to have a great defensive backfield. And in our scheme, it's of utmost importance. Malik Baker had a good year last year, but he's had a great camp this camp. And he was just voted captain as well with Jacob Tweme. So Jacob, all conference selection last year. His leadership, I think he received a vote from every single person on the team to become captain. He had the most votes I've ever seen.
Wow.
So he's that kind of leader for us. And his play speaks for itself. He's a physical player. Danny Mason is a guy that's coming back that played a ton for us last year. We added Kyle Johnson last offseason. He's really hit his own. And then Dennis Crawford and Clarence Brown, they've been doing a great job as well. So I should speak about Isaiah Funchess-Foster. He's one of the communicators back there. He brings the intensity to our defense, and he's one of our guys that I think will be a huge impact player this year for us.
Well, it's amazing how when the defensive line is getting their job done, it makes the job easier for the linebackers, makes it easier for the secondary. The secondary is covered, it makes it easier for the linemen. It's amazing and beautiful. That's one of the great things about football. All the 11 makes one.
11 is one.
For sure. All right, let's flip to the other side of the football. You can't get anything done if you're not blocking up front. You know that as well as anybody, former center. So talk about the guys up front and the work they're putting in.
Yeah, I mean, that's the group that I think improved the most in a year is our offensive line. We went into the first game last year against Wayne State with 0 starts. Not one of those guys had ever started a football game.
That is tough.
Yeah, so that was it was a scary, sleepless night the night before. But honestly, those guys got better every single day.
Right.
We're returning 6 guys that started a game at that position, at each of those positions. So we're excited about that group. They've done a great job. Gage Sampson was voted captain by his peers. He's really excelled at center position. Mustafa Fake is back at tackle. He was an all-conference performer as well. But even outside of that, the thing that we've really improved, there's not just 5. We've got about 8 guys that we feel like can go in and start a game for us. So that's been a huge change. We did add a couple transfers in that room in Debo Ballo and Manny Mullins, and those guys have been they've been seamless as they've joined the group and got right in there and making an impact already. So
when you talk about your extra line, most coaches like to say they like to have at least 7 or 8 guys that they're comfortable putting in the offensive line. Do you like to have your core 5 and maybe a guy who can play the outside, maybe somebody who can play the positions in the middle? You kind of feel them out that way?
Yeah, we always know where we think a guy fits best. But our emphasis is always to how do we get the best 5 on the field, and how do we keep those guys? You're going to have throughout the year, you're going to have people that get banged up a little bit, and you've got
especially down there.
Yeah, and you've got to be able to maintain your best 5. So we cross train almost every single offensive lineman in that unit, even if they're a starter. Right. They're always going to take their primary reps at their position, but we want to be able to put the best combination we can on the field, and we also want to be able to rotate people in and keep people fresh if we have the ability to. So
that makes most sense.
It does, and that's the way if we want to be an imposing group, then we need to keep them as fresh as possible.
Well, you mentioned one of your wide receivers earlier. I'm always going to talk about the guys catching the football. Your wide receivers, your tight ends. Let's talk about that group now.
Yeah,
very deep.
I want to start with Will Jackson Linkhart. He's had a phenomenal camp. He was hurt going into the year last year, missed about half the year. It's been great to see the spring he had and then the camp he's had. Him and Malik Baker going back and forth all camp was
don't make them both better.
It is. So Ethan Holbrook's coming back as well. He did.
Well, he really came to his own last year, didn't he? Especially in the special teams game as well.
Yeah, he's a big special teams guy for us as well. But he's Mr. Reliable out there. He can do anything that we want him to do. Hav Wills. Hav's a guy that's had 2 years of experience. He really played a lot for us last year. Started games for us last year.
Yeah, somebody like that guy kind of made the catch when he needed the catch to be
made. Some of the circus catches he had were so impressive. From the Walsh game, that one sticks out to me. He caught it behind the defensive back's back.
That was amazing.
He's had a great camp as well. And then I referenced some of the guys that we added in that room. So we're excited about that group and the experience that they have. Nate Washington being here for 3 days during camp was outstanding.
I bet those wideouts eyes light up when he comes to town, don't they?
Yeah, they did, and he was able to really pour into those guys with technique and fundamentals. So it was fun.
They'll listen to you. But sometimes a guy who's been there, done that, they might listen to him a little bit more. You know what I'm saying?
College offensive lineman with the 11-year NFL vet. You take your choice. So, it was awesome having him, and really our guys were locked in on his every word, which was fun.
Excellent. Tight end group?
Yeah, the tight end group. Joey Zalewski back, an all-conference performer.
Yeah, right.
He's gotten bigger and stronger. His ability to block at the first and second level has increased tremendously over the course of the last year. And then Cedric Anton, we saw him play quite a bit a year ago, but him being in our system for another year, his understanding, that group has become incredibly more proficient, and we've added some depth there with some young guys.
Such an interesting position because you're an extension of the offensive line, but you're also an extension of the wide receiver group too. A lot of got to have a lot going on upstairs to play that position.
It is. It's one of the hardest positions to play in our offense, and we really stretch them.
Awesome. All right, the guys toting the ball, the running backs. You got Ronald coming back, who was All-American last year, but sounds like you're excited about the group as a whole, especially with Tyrese back too.
Yeah, I think that group in general has done a great job. Yeah, Ronald's done a phenomenal job. He's bigger and stronger than he was a year ago, heavier, faster. He's really put in the work, and he's an exciting player. But we want to be able to keep him as fresh as we possibly can. And last year at times we didn't feel like we had the ability to do so, just with some injuries and things like that. We feel great about the group that we're rolling in there with. We feel like we have 4 backs that can carry the ball, and we don't have to miss a beat. They all have things that they do exceptionally well. Ronald Blackman's going to be our feature guy. He was the player of the year and an All-American for a reason, right? Daniel Weems coming into that room. Tyrese Banks Dorn is back, and then Nick Johnson got a lot of carries last year for us. He got banged up partway through the year and didn't get to get as many carries as we wanted him to, but we feel like we've got 4 backs that can go in there and do exactly what we ask them to do every snap.
You got to lead in the fourth quarter. Those linebackers, defensive line, don't like to see a running back with fresh legs out there. That is for sure.
Correct.
All right, down to before we get to our special teams, down to our quarterback position. So let's talk about that group. And Alex did a great job last year for us, and talk about what else we got going on.
Yeah, Alex Johnson is he's only gotten better.
Good.
His understanding of the game. Him and I met once a week and talked about offensive line play this offseason, because he doesn't want to just understand what's going on in the pass game. He wants a full picture of what we're trying to accomplish.
That's what you want out of your quarterback.
Exactly. So he's been studying hard, and you can see his understanding paying off. Excellent. He's able to go up and make the checks that we need to make, and we really want a field general. We want somebody that can be an extension of our coaches on the field. He's a captain for the second year in a row, and his ability to go out and lead our team, not just from a schematical standpoint, but lead them emotionally, it's been great to see.
Yeah, you need your quarterback to be like the man among men, almost, if you will. Grabs everybody's attention when he talks. I guess is a good way to say it.
Absolutely.
Special teams. Some good special teams played last year, and I imagine that's going to continue this year.
Yeah, we're really excited. Ben Rudolph's back for year number 2. He was a freshman last year. Sometimes I've got to remind myself of that because he had such a good year. But it's been great to see his confidence and his range really increase. We brought in Anthony Turnage. Anthony's come in and compete with him and has a huge leg. So it's been a lot of fun to see those two square.
Yeah, I got to watch a little bit of that one day out there. It was fun.
Gets the guys excited. So we put them against each other every single day, and we like to talk about competing with your teammates. Those two have been incredibly supportive of one another, and they both have roles. And then Joseph Weirs, he's got a huge leg as a punter, and he's the guy that can come in and flip the field for us. And we're really excited about what his ability is. His accuracy's improved. He's always had the hang time, but his ability to go out and hit the exact punt that we want, that's been fun to see. He's been working really hard in the offseason.
Well, we've seen a lot of kickers over the years at this level, and sometimes in the punting game, the punters look great in warm-ups, but the consistency isn't there. And that's one thing from Joe. It seems like he's been able to have that consistency, and you said it's even getting better.
Yeah, I think the thing that gets overlooked a lot is the long snapper, how much his snap impacts the consistency of a field goal or a punt.
Everything's timing, right?
Jake Jacoby has done a great job. He snapped for us. He started for us in the game against Truman a year ago, and he's really honed in on his skills. He's put all of his time and effort into becoming the best snapper he can be. He's had a great camp, so we're excited about him. Another name that's been in that room is Grant Woodfin. He broke his leg last year, coming back. His competition on kickoffs and on field goals been awesome.
Well, return men. I know you got a lot of very talented, skilled guys, both on the offensive and the defensive side of the ball. It's probably pretty interesting competition to figure out who's going to be the guys you're putting back there on kickoff and punt return.
Yeah, that one I'm going to leave pretty vague.
I figured you would, but I had to bring it up.
There's some good players that we're trying out back there.
Yeah, you got a lot of them. You got to.
We do. And Ethan Holbrook did a great job with punt returning, and that's something he'll continue to do.
Right.
But you're going to see some other faces back there. You're going to see some other faces in the kick return game as well.
Well, you mentioned the captains earlier, and you mentioned Tueme getting the most. Everybody voted for him. And I was going to ask you coming into this, how do you guys do your captain program? Was it a coach's vote, players, is it combinations? How do you guys go through that process to pick your captains?
Yeah, our players vote for our captains. I want the players to choose who should lead them, and really we educate our players on, what does leadership look like throughout the year. When we voted for captains, I said that they got 4 names that they could list, and we went from there. And I didn't have to go through, well, what is a captain? What does that look like? That's a part of our leadership model.
Right.
So our team has an educated perspective on who is going to lead us and why. And it's really exciting to see. Last year, we picked our leaders, and I challenged them weekly to become better leaders and to become more vocal. And we were a really young team a year ago. This year, moving forward, we had a more diverse group that were voted for because of that. We've got a lot of leaders, and we have the 5 captains. We have 2 others that received over 20 votes that are on a leadership council. And we've got a slew of others that lead daily. So it's really felt different throughout the spring and then throughout fall camp, listening to our team communicate and watching them work together.
It's really interesting when you get elected a captain knowing that your teammates chose you. And that puts a level of responsibility on you. And I think it's a lot of times as football players, they embrace that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's fun to see, and those are the guys that we look at, the players that we look at from day to day when things aren't going like they need to at practice and when things are. They're the ones that are going to get the credit, but it's not just a great honor, it's also a great responsibility. And that's something we talk a lot about is everybody wants to be a captain, but is everybody ready to be a captain? So
it's easy to say the word.
It is.
But what entails that duty?
It is. Those 5 guys are ready for the task.
That's all you want right there. That's all you want. So we mentioned Zane earlier. So let's talk a little about your coaching staff. Any changes this year with the coaching staff?
Yeah, there was a couple changes. One of the best things that happened was there's a continuity. There's a lot of continuity coming back. We have a new linebackers coach in Dwight Jackson. So he joined us before spring ball, which he's been a great addition to what we're doing. And then our special teams coordinator, Kellen O'Neill, he's new as well. He came from Limestone after their program, their school got shut down. He's been outstanding. So those 2 additions have been big in owning the roles that we've put them in. And then we've got a change in our defensive graduate assistant DBs coach in Matt Witten. So those 3 guys have been great additions to our staff. We feel like we're in a better place moving into this year, especially because we all understand one another. So having that much continuity on our coaching staff really allowed us to take the next step forward, not just for me, but for our entire staff. We're moving in the same direction at the same time. And that's been outstanding. From
head coach to the last guy on the depth chart, they're all moving in the same direction. That's football. That's what makes a football team.
Alignment is key, and we speak a lot about that. We meet about that a lot, and we discuss things. We get on the same page, and then we go attack.
All right. Well, you just said the word attack. Let's throw some more adjectives out there for when the fans go up to Detroit next week, or if they're watching the game on the live stream. Give me some more adjectives about what they're going to see out of your kids.
Yeah, you're going to see them be connected. That's the first thing that you'll see is our team is incredibly tight, and that was something that Kelly Daniel in the interview process, our athletics director, she said to me during the interview, you're going to, should you be the head coach, you're going to inherit a team that is a true brotherhood. And that's, in a lot of programs, that's said, right? But I feel like this is the most connected team I've ever been a part of and ever coached. And so that's the first thing that you'll see. You'll see passion. They're going to play for one another. And it's going to be internal passion. It's not, we don't have a bunch of guys that are showboats. We've got guys that want to celebrate with their teammates and want to be excited when their teammates do well. So that's another piece of being connected. You're going to see them be excited to play. You're going to see us be tough. That's something that we do. We have one speed that we play at. It's really important that we go out and execute the same urgency. And then one area where we want to continue to get better, and we have pushed very hard to get better, is the daily disciplines, right? Taking care of the ball, and then just being disciplined to each scenario that comes up in a game. We work a lot on situational football, so you're going to see us be knowledgeable in those areas. So those are a few adjectives that we've worked really hard on. And the team is excited to go out there and play, I'll tell you that much.
It's amazing how much discipline gets involved in athletics and being a student, huh? Discipline's fairly important for a collegiate athlete, that's for sure. So you look at the schedule, Coach. It's a strange schedule this year, only 4 home games. First home game not until we get to October. And, a lot of times you learn a lot about your team when you go on the road. So it'll be interesting to see how well you guys all really come together in these first few weeks, as you guys are going to be at Frost Cow now for 4 or 5 weeks.
Yeah, it's always comfortable when you're playing at home, and we've got a great home record even before I arrived here, right? So we have lots of confidence when we play at Frost Cal now. But for us, the emphasis on the entire offseason, we knew our schedule going into it, and it's all about keeping perspective on what's important. And what's important is the same thing every single week, and that's our culture, and that's our plan, and that's our execution. Right. And it doesn't matter where that happens, if it's in Detroit or if it's in another country. We're going to go out and we're going to have that same focus. So our emphasis has been on it. It doesn't matter where we're at. It doesn't matter what time kickoff is. We're not letting external factors dictate our performance. So we have to be that way. We've got only 4 home games, 7 on the road. But each
game's 60 minutes. Each field is 120 yards, and let's go get it.
Exactly. And our team, honestly, they love to play in environments that are rowdy and loud, and we expect that. Week 1, it's going to be rocking up in Detroit, and they've got a great team, great coaching staff, and it's going to be a great environment.
Yeah, Dragon football right around the corner, competing in the Great Midwest Athletic Conference. Coach, when you look at the conference this year, how do you kind of see like the strengths? And, Ashland picked number 1, we're picked number 2. It seems like that first 5, 6, 7 schools, man, it's going to be a dogfight. It kind of seems like. Seems like the conference should be a little bit more improved than last year. Walsh already got a big win already, so it looks like the conference maybe stepping up a little bit this year.
Yeah, I think our conference is one where any week anybody can win, and that's been proven if you look at the course of history. So it goes back to staying focused on the task of the opponent at hand and the task at hand. The conference is deep. Ashland got picked first, and deservingly so. They won the conference last year. They returned a lot of players. They're going to be a formidable opponent, but so is everybody else.
Exactly.
So for us, it's looking at our conference and looking at what we need to do each week in and week out to bring home a W. So I'm excited about conference play, but we're not even thinking about that yet. We're staying locked in on week 1, and the guys, when we were chosen second last year, we were chosen third, I think, in the preseason poll, and our group chats blew up. Everybody was, we need to go prove people wrong. We need to go. And honestly, this year, it was crickets. And nobody was concerned about where anybody else thought we should be picked. I didn't talk about it for about 3 days. And finally, I said, I don't know if our players know where we were chosen. I should bring it up in a team meeting. And it was exactly what I thought. They're not looking around. They don't care what anybody else thinks. It's not now that matters. It's where we at the end of the season. And the only way we get there is by focusing on the task at hand every single week. So I was really excited about that. Not one message in a group chat about inspiration and motivation from that. So we're excited about the Tiffin Dragons in 2025.
I had to ask you about the conference now because I know each week you're only going to want to talk about. We recap and then we get ready for the next week. So I had to bring it up this week.
That's right.
Make it talk about it.
That's right.
But yeah, Coach, it's always a pleasure getting a chance to talk to you. And a lot of changes have happened through the years with the broadcast and things. And we're now with Flow College, and it'll be a little bit different with your with the broadcast streaming and things. The radio will never change, but we will put out another video before Thursday, and I'll explain how everything will be working with the Flow Sports College stuff to make sure all our fans are on the right page. It's not just a Tiffin University thing or a Great Midwest thing. It's basically a small college thing where everybody going to this Flow Sports, and that's the way it is, and we'll make sure everybody knows exactly how things will be going on. But you can always catch the Dragons video and radio every single game day for sure. That's for sure. All right, Coach.
I know the broadcast will still be great, so
I hope so. I'm going to do my best. Be up there on Thursday, that's for sure. But Coach, anything else before we let you get back? You probably got practice here in just a little bit.
We're excited. That's the thing that needs to be communicated. We've worked really hard, and the amount of guys in the nature of college football right now that could have left and decided to stay. We're a connected team, and incredibly grateful for the opportunity to go out and compete. So we're excited. Come out and see us this fall, and get on the road these first 4 weeks and come support your Dragons, and then we'll see you in October at Frost Cal now.
Sounds like a good time, Coach. Looking forward to it. Week 1 at Wayne State. It's a 6 o'clock kickoff. Our pregame show will start about 5:30 on the TU Dragon Football Radio Network. He's Brett Ekkens, head coach of the Tiffin University Dragon Football Squad. I'm Russ Snyder, voice of the Dragons. This has been our Week 1 season preview of Tiffin University Football.